Hi everyone, welcome. FPLMattDay here. I'm back with some FPL content for game week 13. Can't wait for it to be back. We've obviously had the international break, and this video is your questions answered. I did an Instagram story and a Twitter post, and I've had plenty of questions come in this week. So I can't wait to go through. There's some really good questions for captains, transfers. I'll share screen and go through each question. Also had some screenshots of people's teams. There's obviously been a lot going on during this international break with injuries as well. So lots to go through in this clip. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't done already. Give the video a like and get your comments in with any questions that have been missed out on here. Any different ones, get your questions in. But we'll start off, and I'm going to go through with my Instagram question to begin with. So I won't share screen just yet. I'll do that on my my Twitter or X questions. I'll begin to share screen. But I did have a question on Instagram from one of my followers, from Daniel Brown, and he asked me, shall I sell Haaland? And I'm going to say no. If you're owning Haaland right now, I wouldn't sell him for this game week. He did pick up a knock in the Norway game, pulled out of that game, but they were already knocked out, I believe, anyway at that point. And now they've already had confirmation that he should be fine and fit to play against Liverpool in the early kickoff on Saturday. So no, I would not sell him for this game week and beyond. So let's share the screen and we'll go through these questions that have come in. So we'll zoom in and try and keep it as interactive as possible today. So here it was, questions. Post any questions for game week 13 and I'll answer them on my next video, which is this video. So we're going to start from top to bottom. And the legend himself, Andy Martin, a very popular FPL account. So go and give him a follow and give everyone a follow who has asked a question as well. So go on to here. You can find me at FPLMattDay on Twitter as well. So Andy has asked Areola versus Leno, Salah versus Bowen. I'm going to say if you're on a wild card, I would say Leno. I just think over a season, he's going to get more points. He's only 0.4 more than Areola as well. So he's still reasonably priced for a goalkeeper. He's picking up plenty of save points. And although Fulham haven't necessarily been picking up results this season, they obviously started really well last season. I actually think their defence can be a little bit more solid than West Ham at times. West Ham have been conceding a lot of goals this season, so you will get the odd clean sheet. And when Leno does get the clean sheet, we've seen it this season, he gets the bonus and he accumulates so many save points. If we're looking at the total scores as well this season, Leno is sitting in third place. Areola, he's all the way down there in 8th place. Although he's cheaper and he is higher owned, I think at 14.5% owned, Leno has a lot of potential. And if I look at his fixtures that are coming up, the amount of green fixtures he's got in the next sort of 10 games or so, Wolves home, Forest home, they play against West Ham as a home game, Burnley, Bournemouth, and then he's got a nice little run in the new year with Everton, Burnley and Bournemouth. I just think he is a better pick. If you want to go in with a sort of a West Ham defensive asset anyway, you've got the likes of Soufal, who are pretty cheap and can cover West Ham if they start keeping clean sheets. But I think for 0.4 more, Leno is a better pick. As for Salah versus Bowen, captain for this game week, I would have said Bowen prior to this potential injury from Bowen now in the international fixtures. He's pulled out of England training. A lot of rumours are it's just because Antonio is injured and West Ham now want to pull Bowen out because it's North Macedonia, I think, is who England have got. And then obviously they've already qualified and it's probably just a precaution. But I think if we get injury news that Bowen isn't 100% and he might not start, I probably wouldn't take the risk. And I'd say Salah is a really good option in a Man City team against Liverpool that let 4 goals in away at Chelsea in the last game. This has goals written all over it for me. I can see sort of a 2-2 and Salah getting a return. I'd say right now Salah edges it. But if you'd asked, well, you did ask me yesterday before the Bowen injury, but I'm obviously answering it now. So I would have said if this was 24 hours ago, it would have been Bowen. But right now, I'd say Salah. But great question. Thanks, Andy Martin. Adrian from FPL Primetime. I'll zoom in a bit more here so you can all see these questions on screen and the accounts that they've come from. So Adrian from FPL Primetime, would you recommend risking giving Son the captaincy over Haaland without Maddison's creativity? I'd say yes. Look, I wouldn't necessarily say giving Son a captain's armband is ever a risk. He's Spurs' main source of goals. And even without Maddison, even without Harry Kane in the past, Son has still produced hat-tricks for Spurs and doubles and goals and double-digit hauls. He's also yet to have a penalty this season, and it's very, very likely, I'm 99% sure Son will then be the Spurs penalty taker. I think this is another game week where it's very open for captaincy. You don't necessarily need to pick Haaland. The Liverpool game, I do think will have goals, but it doesn't mean you need to pick him. There's lots of good captain options as well. Eze potentially this week as well. If Mitoma's fit away to Forest, there's a captain option as well there. Salah, who we spoke about, Son, maybe even Saka at Brentford. There's a lot of captain options this week. I wouldn't say it's a risk. I think it's could end up being a good captain pick, because if he scores for Spurs, he seems to be attracted to the bonus points. So I don't mind it, mate. Good question there from Adrian at FPL Primetime. Roberto Hollis from FPL Yellow Army. Go and check him out. He's a big supporter of my channel as well. And he's come in with two questions. One for Game Week 13 and one for Game Week 14. So I'm going to answer both. Game Week 13 is Captain Bowen, Salah or Haaland if fit. If fit, it's Bowen for me, number one. And then probably Haaland. I really like Salah as well, but then I'd probably say Haaland based on him having the home fixture, and then Salah. But it's a close call between Haaland and Salah this game week. Salah just seems to be firing in every fixture, and you get those midfielder points. But if fit, Bowen. And then game week 14 question, who is more a priority buy? Raya to replace Areola or Turner, or Mbuemo to replace Son or Bowen? I think looking at Bowen's fixtures, you probably don't want to replace him, and it's probably Son that could be on the hook here with some difficult games coming up. So I'd say Mbuemo to Son gives you that extra bit of money in the bank as well if you need to strengthen elsewhere. I think goalkeeper can probably wait for now, and you can make that move at a later date if required, because Turner, he isn't even starting anymore, and Areola is leaking plenty of goals, but I don't think it's a huge problem position right now compared to those other moves, mate. So that's what I would do. Great question. FPL Buzz Henners, really good question, this one. Who to play this week in your opinion? James Ward-Prowse away to Burnley or Archer home to Bournemouth? This is a great question because James Ward-Prowse, we all know what he's capable of, and Archer finally found a goal not so long ago at home to Wolves. Bournemouth haven't been on great form, but they did win in the last game week. I'm going to back James Ward-Prowse away at Burnley, just based on the fact he's a midfielder. There's potential extra midfielder points, clean sheet points. And the thing about James Ward-Prowse, he can score at any moment with that free kick. And I don't think he scored a free kick for West Ham in the league this season. And he did get a couple of assists in his last game. Tends to be the sort of player when he returns the following game, and the following game he goes on a little run and then he goes cold for quite a long time. Archer, I do think it's a great fixture, but I'd still back West Ham to create more and offer more of an attacking threat away at Burnley than Sheffield United, even at home to Bournemouth. So I'd say Ward-Prowse edges it. Close call, but Ward-Prowse for me. But great question. Thanks, FPL Buzz. FPL Commander, big Bournemouth fan. Great to have a question from him. And it's a Bournemouth-related question. Dominic Solanke to come in for Alvarez until I'm getting Haaland back as only City player for game week 15. Sensible. I don't mind it. Solanke's got that fixture away at Sheffield United. He got a double in the last game week. He's doing really well this season FPL-wise. I don't mind it. I think it's a bit of a punt because you're getting rid of a City player. But Alvarez, again, he's gone a little bit cold. He's probably travelling back from Argentina. Solanke, very fresh, good fixture for Bournemouth. You won your last game week as well. Bournemouth did. So for me, I'd bring Dominic Solanke in and then look at bringing Haaland back in game week 15 as your sole City player, as you've mentioned. Tom Badinho, good question this. Great account as well. I love that Ronaldinho picture. Is Cole Palmer a must-have from game week 16? I think when you look at his price, I think he might be 5.1, 5.2 now. He's gone up. I remember when he was initially, it was all the way down at 4.9. I would say as a fifth midfielder, with Chelsea having a strong run from game week 16, which I'll quickly read out now. But I would say, based on the fact that he's going to have such a good run, he's on penalties at the moment for Chelsea, and he's returned in his last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of his last 6, and he looks like he's now in that team. And Chelsea have found a little bit of a groove lately. And from 16, they've got Everton away, Sheffield United home, Wolves away, Palace home, Luton away, Fulham home. Then Liverpool away, followed by Wolves, and Palace away, Wolves home. That was. He's gone up to 5.2, 4.7 points per match. As a fifth midfielder option, say for someone like me, he's got Anthony Gordon right now. Gordon will come out, Palmer will come in. That will be a very easy exchange. I've just got to hope Palmer doesn't go up too much in price until then. So for me, I actually think as a fifth midfielder, he is going to be a must-have. I think a lot of people are going to bring him in. Great question. Hungry Savozlai George. What a name of an account that is. That's brilliant. He has asked, will Haaland score his first PL goal against Liverpool in game week 13? So he must have blanked in both games last season then, I'm assuming, against Liverpool. I think he will. I think there'll be goals in this. And the way VAR is going at the moment, especially in Liverpool games, or in every game, but a lot of Liverpool games, there seems to be penalties all over the place. So I think he will. There could be a pen. It's going to be a good, interesting matchup between him and Van Dijk. He's had luck against Van Dijk in the Champions League before when he was at Salzburg, when he was younger. Hasn't done so well against him since, but Van Dijk looks back to his best. But I think this game's got goals. I can see a sort of 2-2 type of game, 3-2 type of fixture. And I think he will score. I think he'll get his first goal against Liverpool. Great question there. Great account. FBL Hive, another great account. Big Brentford fan. Best Matt Cash replacement for the next 5 game weeks. There's a couple. Look, Matt Cash for me, I'm going to keep him for a couple of game weeks, especially because they played Bournemouth in the game week 14. I just want something out of him because he's been so disappointing since I got him on Wildcard. But for me, I think Tsimikas is a great pick. You can save some cash. Looks like Liverpool. Save some cash, save some money. Looks like Liverpool are going to use him quite regularly. So I think Tsimikas, great pick. Good fixtures coming up for Liverpool after this game week. I'm really liking Saliba. If you can get Saliba in there and you've got the extra money, then look at bringing him in as well. They're probably my favourite too. I think Tsimikas at that price. I'm just going to pull up the app now because Mark Gahey is always a player for Palace that you could always look to bring. He's always big with the bonus, or even Mitchell who gets forward. And you look at Palace, if you're going to do it now, Luton and Bournemouth in the next few games, but then it does get tougher. It does get tougher for Palace. So I'd probably say Gahey, someone that's probably more on the edge as a replacement, but definitely Tsimikas and Saliba if you can afford it. They're probably my favourites for now. But yeah, Tsimikas for me. Lots of good fixtures coming up in there. But great question. Thanks, FPL Hive. Let's go to JR. He's asked Awonyi from Forest versus Solanke. Solanke for me. And there was already a reply on this from another account that mentioned Awonyi has a potential knock. He might be injured for this game week or forthcoming game week. So with that in mind, it's got to be Solanke. Awonyi's got great fixtures, but Solanke's just got that goal scoring form at the moment. And if I bring up Solanke's fixtures over the next few game weeks, he has got Sheffield United away this week, Villa home, Palace away, Manchester United away, Luton home, Forest away, Fulham home. They're all fixtures. You'd probably back him to bag some returns in at least half of those. Awonyi's got Brighton, Everton, Fulham, Wolves, Tottenham, Bournemouth. So he's got some good fixtures as well. But if there is some potential injury clouds on him, you want to be careful. He isn't flagged yet on FPL. But even so, both fully fit. I do like Solanke right now. I know Awonyi is very, very consistent with his returns, but Solanke's brilliant when it comes to getting some big hauls. So Solanke for me. FPL Crusader. Luke, who to transfer in for Maddison? I already have Kudus. Yeah, it's a big shame that we've, managers that still have Maddison have got to sell him because he was a season keeper up until his injury. He was consistent, getting points regardless of the fixture. But for me, it's probably got to be Eze this game week from Palace. He's got Luton this coming game week. I think it's a really good replacement for this game week. And then follow it with Mbuemo as long as you've got the cash in the bank, who's then got Luton the following week at home. So that would be the move I would be aiming to make for Maddison. And you could probably always continually transfer out that fifth or fourth midfielder, whatever it is, as the game weeks go on. So I've only got a couple more questions left. So thanks to everyone that did put questions in here on X or Twitter and also on my Instagram. I really appreciate it. Alidally, he wants to roll his transfer. Does he bench Mitoma or Douglas Luiz? Samikas hit me with a 15-point dagger last weekend. Sorry to hear, mate. Should I start him over Cash or Soufal? This is his team. Bring it up on screen. This is his squad. I think for this game week, if Mitoma's past fully fit, you play him over Douglas Luiz. I know Luiz gets pens. Spurs are on the ropes a bit at the moment with their injuries, but still Mitoma, you play him for me. Tough one between Areola and Leno. Although I said earlier I prefer Leno as a long-term pick, I think for this one you still pick Areola over Leno just for this game week, and then from there it's Leno every single week. I wouldn't play Samikas in that City game. I think there's too many potential goals coming out of that fixture. Hopefully Lamptey is fit, and you could probably play Lamptey over Matt Cash there, but it wouldn't put it past me if Lamptey isn't fit, as he always seems to be injured at the moment. So that is what I would do, mate. That's a very strong team. And I actually think with that squad, as you mentioned, there's a lot of potential to just roll that team and not make a transfer. Don't think you need to. So FPL, Koi Kai Havertz, who to captain, Haaland or Salah, or another? I have both. Like I mentioned some of the questions earlier, Haaland out of the two. But if you want to captain someone else, Bowen if he's fit, Eze away at Luton, and maybe Son at home to Aston Villa. Question from Sedician FPL. Would you sell Alvarez to Solanke to raise funds for a move from Mitoma to Mbuemo? Yes, I would. I'm liking Solanke's fixtures, and I'm also liking Mbuemo in game week 14 with the Luton fixture, but I'd probably hold off on selling Mitoma until we know the extent of his injury, because if he's fit to start this week, you want him in that Forest away game. Great question. Yaha Youssef Ali, with this busy schedule, is it time to invest in teams without European matches? Solanke, Edward, Jackson, Wissa, MGW, Morgan, I think he means Morgan Gibbs-White. I'd say yes, not all of them, but keep a close consideration on some of them. Jackson for Chelsea when the fixtures get better in game week 17, potentially yes, but Nkunku could be fit then. Wissa, I'd probably be more tempted to Mbuemo over Wissa. Solanke, yes, and Gibbs-White, keep tabs on him because he seems to be in and out of the Forest team this season. But yeah, definitely target at least one or two of these non-European type of teams. But then also look at teams that have already qualified in Europe as well, because their teams will probably take priority in the Premier League. But great question. So Joe, I think this could be, it's the final question. So some great questions. And thanks for everyone that put them in. What would you do with this team? Wildcard is active. Players with black scores I'm pretty set on keeping. I think it means blank scores, sorry. Johnson is the differential. Happy having him over Son for now. Happy to bench James until game week 17. I like the Johnson pick, by the way. And when we go back to that Maddison question earlier, I think Johnson could be a good pick as a quick sort of sideways move. But let's see what I would do with this team as the wildcard is active. I like it. I like the Adingra pick. Front three for me is strong. Solanke, Haaland, Darwin. Probably would say do you really need Ollie Watkins right now? I'm just thinking, is it time to put Watkins in? He's obviously so highly owned, but you've gone for Darwin instead. Let me have a quick look at Watkins' fixtures. I know he's got Spurs this week, followed by the Bournemouth away game. It does get tougher. I'm going to say keep that front three, but have an eye on Watkins from game week 18 onwards. Midfield, I like Bowen, I like Salah, I like Mbuemo, I like Adingra, I like Johnson. But I do think you need to find a way for Saka in there. I wouldn't have Kyle Walker. I'd definitely be looking to move him down. I wouldn't have Reece James right now either. Not 100% keen on Harry Maguire. I'd probably have Tsimikas, yes. Saliba, yes. I'd try and get Kieran Trippier in there ahead of Walker. Or maybe even Lascelles, who's a 4 million option for Walker. And then you could get in a nice 4.5 million, maybe like a Mark Gahey, who you can rotate in and out of the back line. So you can have Saliba, Lascelles, someone like Gahey and Tsimikas. You can reduce a lot of the funds by not having Walker and James, because you've obviously got cheaper players in there. And then you need to find a way to upgrade like a Johnson or maybe a Mbuemo to Saka or Bowen to Saka in a few game weeks' time when Arsenal play Luton. But other than that, I really like the front three as well. So yeah, decent team. And you could even go Bowen to Cole Palmer in a few weeks and Mbuemo to Saka, especially if you're reducing the costs with Walker and James, the defenders I mentioned below, to get some more money in your team. So thanks, Joe. Joe, FPL rookie. Solid wildcard. But look, let's stop sharing screen. 22 minutes of questions. Really, really appreciate everyone that got their questions in. As I mentioned before, get your questions in the comments if you missed out on getting them answered in this video. Be sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't done already. Give this video a like. And stay tuned. This page will have plenty of shorts in the week, as always. A few, comical ones and a few jokes like I normally do, but also some shorts on captains, player picks, differentials, that type of stuff, as well as an FPL tips video in the middle of the week I will film, and also my live deadline stream this week before Liverpool versus Man City. And we may even do a watch along this week for Liverpool Man City, so stay tuned for that. But look, let's leave it there, everyone. Thanks for those that have tuned in and asked the questions. I'm FPLMattDay. I'll see you all in the next one. Bye for now.